consumption,
Okay.
but there isn't enough to supply China for the future, and they will run out very soon if they don't look at alternatives and renewables and all of that. So they're very, very focused on trying to get that market up and trying to be up to speed on the technology in that market. And for the most part, they're quite open about inviting foreigners to come in here and develop their technologies here and manufacture here, and there's a lot of encouragement from the government for foreign firms that have that technology advantage to come here and do that, or the expertise. So there's a lot of technology transfer that's taking place, some of it very overtly and very deliberate, and some others where it's just happening by virtue of them being here. Really, they don't have a choice. So at some stage, you get a product that comes out, and then they'll just make a customized, more Chinese version of the same product for a tenth of the price. And I think from their perspective, it's innovation. That's the way they look at it. We're trying to adapt it for the local market. I don't think they look at it as we're copying. So it's a matter of perception, I think. I'm not, defending it, just saying that's a different perspective.
And just so I can get it one more time, can you tell me about the Green Tech Report, what it is, how people can use it?
Oh, right. Okay. So the China Green Tech Report is actually free, downloadable. You just go to www.china-greentech.com, and I think if you went to the website, you'd see it would tell you the whole story of how the partnership came together, and basically it breaks everything down into the solutions. In the end, where we identified 125 solutions, and
What are a couple of them?
a bit like low-hanging fruit, I would say. So if you had to look at, for example, if you looked at lighting and you thought, would it help if, rather than every house saying let's have solar panels on our roofs, one of the easier way to do it would be to change, say, all the street lights and all the tunnel lights to being solar powered. That's something that the government can do. You don't need to go to individual developers to change that mindset, and that's something the municipality or the mayor can make an arbitrary decision about and say all of these lights are going to be changed, and that makes a huge difference. Or deciding you're going to switch them all off at a certain time, again, that makes a huge difference. Small changes that you can do, and it changes your energy use by something like 20% on an annual basis, which is quite a lot when you think about it. So there were some of those sort of changes, but then there were others where you looked at the commercial viability of certain solutions which didn't quite match the environmental benefit. So if you say electric cars, environmentally very, very beneficial, but in terms of technology, we're light years away from making it affordable for anyone to buy at the moment, or making it easy for them to charge. So where's the practicality issue? So it's all there. What it's done is made it easy for anyone to understand what's happening in the green tech sector, what is viable in the next 1 to 3 years, what makes commercial sense in the next 1 to 3 years, and where there is potential for it to become the next big thing, provided policymakers and industry move in tandem towards that goal. And that's really important. It's important that policymakers and the commercial and industrial sector move together on that front. And clearly the grassroots awareness with your average population is also really important. They need to understand why that particular product would then be enhancing their lives in some way, and whether it's cost effective in terms of saving them, on energy or anything, or for that matter that it's better for the environment and holistically the right choice to make. All of that needs to happen all at the same time. So it's a bit of a dance to get everyone doing the same step. That's hard.
So early on. I'm day 3 in China. This is like my first day really like on Sustainable China tour. And one of the feelings that I'm getting, and I don't know if this is right or not, it feels like, if I were to make a basic comparison, it feels like the U.S., our infrastructure and our space, for the most part, is there. And so we're looking at, like, how do we fix or change or shift what's there? it feels like the difference between here is that you guys are literally building new cities
Yes.
and can really start from
Scratch.
scratch.
Yes.
Can
Yes.
you
So
speak to that?
yeah, absolutely. I think the difference is what we call in this business retrofitting. You have retrofitting that's going on in Europe and in the US because you've already got your city infrastructure and systems in place. And some of them are already efficient and some are not. But it takes a lot more effort, time and money to get those fixed while you have a living, breathing community all around it. So just to say we're going to rip up this road because we need to put certain cables underneath or we need to do something that is more energy efficient, that's huge disruption in people's lives. Whereas here they're building new cities and they're building new communities and areas so they can do that even before the people move in and even before it becomes inhabitable. So it's possible to do that. So yes, there's a huge advantage there. I think the disadvantage, as I say, is there is a cost factor to making things more sustainable. There is a cost factor in doing that, in using different materials. And, and I think the ability to pay is not so much the issue, the willingness to pay is the issue. You need for people to be aware that it's worth that 5% more to pay for it because this is greener and it's better. And that's happening slowly, but it's happening over a period of time, so it's not going to happen overnight. Whereas I think somewhere in the West, in the US or in Europe, if you told somebody LEED certified, it's got, everything's recyclable or reusable and you don't have to worry about a thing, and this is a healthier environment for you and your children and your grandchildren to grow up in, they would probably buy it right away. They would get that, they understand the importance of it. And here I think it's not the most important factor. It is a factor, but it's not the most important factor.
Any other lines in terms of like someone that coming to China for the very first time and trying to get
Ah,
understand like what does sustainable China look like? You
sustainable
know,
China. Okay. I think people here grow up with being told all about a balance in life. Even your body, there's yin and yang. The earth, yin and yang. Everything is about that. Two sides to everything, and you need to have that balance of the male and the female. And you've got other people who've written about this, Gaia theory and all kinds of things where they say it's about finding that balance. We've probably tipped too much on the yang side and need to bring back a bit of the yin. And that fact is not lost on anybody here in China. I think that they get. Sustainability is certainly something they understand. They get it. How to get there and what they have to do in order to get there is a different story. That needs to happen slowly. But sustainable China to me is a reality that I can see happening. And the reason I say that is not because I don't see all of the construction around me, or I don't see what they're doing in terms of buying I don't know how many thousands of cars a day, which is how it's going at the moment. But more because I feel if any policymaker can influence or shape um, the way development is going to progress, China certainly can. And I think in a lot of other countries, just because of their political or economic setup, where the government doesn't have, I wouldn't call it absolute control, but a fair amount of control over what happens, it's more difficult to make that happen. But here it's possible, and therefore I believe it will happen. The thing about China is they just need to be convinced that this is the way to go. So if it was the Kyoto Protocol or Copenhagen or anywhere else where they have not shifted from their stance so much and you've thought, well, come on then. But once they do make up their minds, they move really fast. And so this is a testament to that, where they made up their minds that we're going to do this, and in a matter of 9 months, all of these structures have suddenly come out of the blue, and they are amazing. And it's the same with the green movement. They are really putting their money where their mouth is and investing in a sustainable economy and a sustainable industry.
wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you.